white people do not have more money than black people because they've outworked us, nor because they've outthought us. How do you outwork a slave? And how do you outthink a pyramid builder? The reason why Caucasian people have more money than we have is because we've been placed in America on a real life monopoly board. Okay, y'all don't remember the game of Monopoly. Y'all never played Monopoly? Don't you remember in Monopoly they gave you what? 2 500s, right? 2 100s, 4 50s, 6 20s, 5 10s, 5 5s, and what? 5 1s. Is that right? And when you play the game of Monopoly, you have 1 or 2 options as you move around the board. Either you, when you land on the property, either you can rent it or buy it. That's right. Is that the truth? However, what's happened to us is we started the game of Monopoly or the game of life without no inheritance coming to the table. So when you look at other foreign people, they came, but they had some startup capital. But we never got our 40 acres and a mule. We never came to the table with our inheritance. So we've been trying to move around America in a real game of Monopoly, but because we started off with no inheritance, we've been forced to live on the outside of the board. And living on the outside of the board is robbing and stealing and hustling, etc. And what happens when you live on the outside of the board? You end up going to jail. Right. Going directly to jail. Right. You don't pass go and get to collect your $200. Where's the black man been found? We've been found locked up. So our enemy, when they brought us to America and made us slaves, after they so-called freed us in 1865 with the Emancipation Proclamation, I use the term so-called freed, the same way the most honorable Elijah Muhammad used the term so-called American Negro. Because so-called means that that's the name that we wear, but that's not our official name. The black man and woman, we are the Asiatic black man. We are the makers, the owners, the cream of the planet Earth, and we are the gods of the universe. We are so-called Negroes and so-called everything else. So-called freedom, because the word emancipate, from the root Latin word emancipere, means to free from the hand but not from the control. So to emancipate means I let your body go, but I still have your mind locked up. So when they gave us our so-called freedom in 1865, they had a debate in Congress in 1897 over whether or not they were going to let black people receive what was called higher education. And when they met in Congress, they said, we won't allow Negroes to go to our colleges and universities, but we will let them open up their own colleges and universities. And when they said they would let us open it up, they said the first one we'll give them, we'll let them have Howard University. But there were 3 things that they told in Congress that must never be taught to the slaves. That was number 1, the science of mating. Number 2, the art or the science of finance. And number 3, the art and the science of warfare. And when you look at mating, warfare, and business, these are the areas that we are struggling with the most as a people. You know we don't know warfare because we still killing each other. We'll murder our brother for $5 worth of crack or for scuffing up our new Jordans. But here we have a 400-year-old enemy that kidnapped us from Africa, killed 13 million on the shores of Africa before we ever got on the ship. Then murder another 200 to 300 million in the Middle Passage. Then when we got to America, they killed in the first few years another 83 million. They murdered all of the adults, spared the children, and then Caucasianized and westernized us, stripped us of our name, culture, religion, moral ways, folk ways, norm, and God. And at the end of all of that, we have never seen in our heart to ever retaliate for all the hell our white enemy has given us, but I let our brother offend us and we ready to take his head off. We don't know warfare because we killing the fellow comrades in the war instead of going to war with the real open enemy. We have not yet learned warfare. And you know we haven't been doing too good with mating either. There's two sides of mating. One side is marriage and the other side is parenting. Black people, we have a 75% divorce rate. Y'all didn't hear me. That's a high number. And I'm going to tell you